Speaking of DMs, Rich, before we get into the over-under section of the show, I want to know a little bit more about how you handle moving from warm lead to, okay, we're DMing. Because I got to be honest, I get DM'd so much crap all the time. It has no shot of ever landing. When do I know this is somebody that I should be messaging, and what should that first message look like when I send it to them on LinkedIn?
Great question. And by the way, all of those DMs that are irritating are super powerful for two reasons. I must add this. Firstly, they're powerful because they condition everyone who gets them, so everyone, that this is irritating stuff, ignore it. So anything opposite is good. And secondly, it tells you right there what not to do. If anyone listening is doing those kind of messages, but wouldn't respond to them themselves, that says you view your audience and set of buyers on a lower plane than you, which is a terrible mindset to have. They're not inferior to you. They're just as intelligent, and they will see these messages and go, I'm not responding to that. So if you wouldn't, then it's crazy to send them out. And what we're looking for, just to answer your question here, is we're looking for a reason to send a message and what the message should be so that they're like, yeah, I'm fine with responding to that. Context is what we need. So if I have a reason to speak to this person, then it will be accepted. Just because we're relevant in that, I don't know, we went to the same university or are both in Florida, it's not really good enough, because that's a bit like on the top level. So this is where content can be so powerful, because if like the easiest way to do it is if someone writes a comment on your content, or this is why polls are crazy powerful for leads, like one of the best lead sources. Because when someone votes on your poll that says, you know, as a question, if it says, what's the thing that you're struggling with most on LinkedIn? And one of the options is conversion from my content. Well, look, I've got 162 people there who've gone, I have a problem with this thing. What do you think my message could be related to? Not, hey, I want to add like-minded people to my network, which is boring and the same as everyone else. I can say, Mark, just wanted to say thank you so much for voting on my poll today. How are you doing? And because we have context, the commonality of the poll, of course you're going to respond because you did that first step. You're like, yeah, I did. I voted on your poll. Nice to meet you. Just out of interest, what made you choose that option? Or, you know, bring some herd mentality so he feels permission to share. So I'll say something like, you know, it's interesting, so many people love that. Or I could even get the results. 54% actually voted the same as you. Just out of interest, what was it that made you decide to vote that? A third won't bother responding because only half people are on LinkedIn a month anyway. A third of them might be giving me some lukewarm thing like, I don't know, it's just something I just wanted to see what the results are. And then there might be a third who are like, I don't get anywhere with my content. Like, I post all the time. And that is the next step. The next step's really simple. I'm looking for one of two cues. If the cue is either a compliment in a message, Richard, I just think you're awesome. I love your stuff. It's really inspiring. I learned so much from you about conversion on LinkedIn. Well, there's a cue that I can ask them if they want to take things further. Or a struggle, a compliment or a struggle, because no one shares a struggle unless they want it fixed, right? So when they are in the DMs, we've done this poll approach I've mentioned, for instance, and they're like, do you know what it is? I just don't know how I meant to get people to step forward. I can't get any kind of results from them. That cue is them saying, like, if you could help, that'd be awesome. If you're nervous, go for a second cue. But unless you get the compliment or the struggle, you're not ready to pivot to an ask yet. So you don't try and pivot to a, hey, well, you know what? I know I can help. Would you like to grab a call, or would you like to explore this further? Until you've earned the right to do so. Because technically someone could buy your product, it doesn't mean you should sell them it.
Yeah.
That's what people hate to be sold to, but they love to buy. So what you want to do is set it up so that you only approach them with the beginning of a sell when they're giving you the cue or the sign that either compliment, they see you as the expert and want to learn from you, or struggle, they see you as someone who might be able to help them. Otherwise, just keep going. And sometimes you don't get a win, do you? Sometimes it's not a deal, but it's still a win because look, I've just made a great connection and that person might refer me or he might cheerlead my next piece of content. So it's worth remembering that every individual you connect with has a network. And despite not getting a deal from everyone, they still might be someone they add to your network and brings you great results in the future. So that's kind of your super short process through the DMs to make sure you're not pressuring people in the wrong way.
Well, no doesn't mean never. It just means not now, right?
Precisely.
So treating everyone with respect is certainly a big deal. But I love this idea of leveraging the polls because now you know the exact pain point that this person has. And honestly,
to not use them. Absolutely.
Oh, it's absolutely insane. Plus the reach that I find you get on polls is massive. I get way more reach on polls, way more engagement, conversation. Polls are definitely, I'm trying to get to this rhythm of at least one poll a week on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Run it for 7 days and it's
about time. I mean, they've been languishing at the bottom in terms of distribution. Polls and live streaming. LinkedIn was like, nah, and it's like, come on, like get some market research. But now they've soared lately. Just there's so much engagement in them. So yeah, you can't miss when you do polls right.
And there's a lot of things on LinkedIn that you can do on LinkedIn. I think a lot of people don't even know, like stories and polls and all kinds of interesting stuff. So this is a great kind of entryway. Of course, Richard Moore, TheRichardMoore.com, TheRichardMoore.com. You can find out and get more in-depth LinkedIn sales tips. Thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you enjoyed this episode. I've got several other episodes right here for you. Smash one of these videos to make sure that you don't miss out on the tips, tools, and tactics of industry experts. Let's take that side hustle full time. Smash one of these links.